Hello and welcome to the 15th video in the composition series Resolve. Let's take a look at the track. I programmed the drums on the Digitakt 2. I really enjoyed using this unit. I just got it last week to create more realistic drums. So the realistic part will be altering the samples to make them with a little bit more variety, some effects that make it sound a little bit more natural. And that really comes in on the ride. But here's a look at the kick drum and the snare. Here's just the kick. So these are actually just the one shots as is. Here's the snare hit. Where the variety comes in is on that cymbal track. So it's as if a real drummer's playing it, where you have the dynamics of the volume. Because depending on how hard you hit the cymbal, you get a louder or softer sound. So let's go ahead and take a look at that track, which is the cymbal, a little bit more closely. So here in the effects menu, I utilize here really delay and reverb to create that more realistic sound. I'll go ahead and turn it off and you can hear what it sounds like. So that's hard on the beat. I slowly start turning it up and it creates little accent hits. Here they just start coming in. If I really crank it up, they become a lot more present. And there, the dynamics aren't there, but the echo is there. So there's a good compromise between that, where we create little accent hits. And then another way I added a slight bit of variation is using a little bit of modulation. So the parameter I selected to modulate was the amplitude. So what that means is we're using, like on the bottom left side, you can see the waveform used. That's the shape that's going to control the amplitude. And then the other parameters control how much or how little that wave is affected. If I put it on the random, you can really hear the volume swing. So that sounds kind of weird, but you get the idea where you can actually ramp that sound so it's a little bit more natural. So I just used a sawtooth wave there. And I think in this case it doesn't do a ton, but I think it adds a little bit of more dynamics. Now let's look at the rest of the track. We have a bass guitar here, which was recorded live. Honestly, this was my kind of rough draft take, but I liked how it fit into this song, so I kept it. And I really like this whistling style synth effect. I thought it made it sound a little more engaging. And that's using the Dr. FM preset on the OP1 field. Yeah, it sounds pretty far out, especially in the lower regions here. And here's the attack, sustain, release. It uses echo and a low frequency oscillator, an LFO. So if I go ahead and turn off the echo and just have the LFO, you still get the whistling kind of effect. You can really hear that modulation. But all together with the LFO, it sounds nice. But I'll turn the LFO off. You see, it sounds a little bit more like a solid single tone. That modulation adds a lot to kind of give it a more human feel. And if I crank that modulation up, you can hear it. Just a little touch of it, I think, sounds nice. So it's a real good preset. So the low frequency oscillator makes the whistle like, instead of just a straight whistle. You see it does a little ramp envelope itself. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one.